Today, we pause, in a world that rarely slows down, where time moves forward without warning, and moments pass before we truly feel them. Behind every name is a life, a story filled with dreams, struggles, achievements, and quiet moments that shape the world in ways we often don't see. Life is fragile, and sometimes, everything can change in an instant. A voice that once spoke, becomes silence. A presence that once filled a space, becomes a memory. Yet even in that silence, something remains. Legacy. Today, we remember those who have passed, not just for how they left, but for how they lived, and the impact they leave behind. These are their stories. David Allan Coe. David Allan Coe, the legendary outlaw country singer whose voice captured the raw spirit of rebellion and truth, passed away on April 29, 2026, at the age of 86. Born on September 6, 1939, in Akron, Ohio, Coe's life was anything but ordinary. His early years were marked by hardship, spending time in reform schools and prison, an experience that would later shape both his music and his identity. It was during those difficult years that he discovered songwriting, turning pain into expression and struggle into storytelling. After his release, he moved to Nashville with little more than determination, even living in a hearse while trying to break into the music scene. That bold, unconventional start reflected the kind of artist he would become: fearless, unapologetic, and different from anyone else. He rose to fame as a key figure in the outlaw country movement, delivering unforgettable songs like You Never Even Called Me by My Name, The Ride, and Mona Lisa Lost Her Smile. He also wrote the iconic working-class anthem Take This Job and Shove It, later made famous by Johnny Paycheck. One of the most fascinating and defining aspects of his life was the story, both myth and reality, surrounding his past. Coe often told dramatic tales about his time in prison, some of which were later questioned or disproven. Yet, this blend of truth and legend became part of his persona, making him one of the most mysterious figures in country music. His career, however, was not without controversy. Some of his underground recordings contained offensive and explicit material, drawing criticism and dividing opinion. Despite this, he maintained a loyal fan base who admired his honesty, raw storytelling, and refusal to conform to the music industry's expectations. David Allan Coe was more than a musician. He was a symbol of rebellion, individuality, and the untold stories of life on the edge. His music reflected real emotions: pain, freedom, struggle, and defiance, connecting deeply with those who felt unheard. His passing marks the end of a remarkable and complex life. But his voice, his stories, and his legacy will continue to live on. In every song he left behind. In every listener who found meaning in his words. David Allan Coe may be gone, but the outlaw spirit he carried will never fade. J. Craig Venter. J. Craig Venter, a visionary scientist who changed the course of modern biology, passed away on April 29, 2026, at the age of 79. His life was not just a story of discovery, but a story of redefining what humanity understands about itself. Born on October 14, 1946, in Salt Lake City, Utah, Venter rose to become one of the most influential figures in genetics. He played a leading role in decoding the human genome, a scientific breakthrough that transformed medicine, research, and our understanding of life itself. Through his work, diseases could be studied more deeply, treatments could become more precise, and the future of biology was forever changed. He was known for his bold approach, challenging traditional systems and accelerating scientific progress through innovation and determination. As the founder of Celera Genomics and the J. Craig Venter Institute, he helped push science into a new era, where DNA could be read, understood, and even recreated. Throughout his career, he achieved milestones that once seemed impossible, including helping create the first synthetic cell, an achievement that opened the door to synthetic biology and future technologies that could reshape medicine and the environment. In his final days, he was hospitalized due to complications related to cancer treatment, and his passing marked the loss of one of the greatest scientific minds of our time. His legacy is not measured only in awards or recognition, but in every life improved through medical science. In every discovery inspired by his work. and in the deeper understanding of life he helped give to the world. Craig Venter may no longer be here, but his impact continues to live on, in the very code of life itself. Gordon Snell. Gordon Snell, a talented British songwriter and beloved children's author whose words and melodies touched generations, passed away in April 2026 at the age of 87. Known for his versatility and creativity, Snell built a unique career that bridged both music and literature, leaving a lasting impression in two very different worlds. Born in 1938, he first gained recognition as a songwriter, most notably for writing the song Have I the Right, which became a #1 hit for the band The Honeycombs in the 1960s. The song's success marked a defining moment in his career, placing him among the notable contributors to the British pop music scene of that era. Beyond music, Gordon Snell found a second life as a writer of children's books, where his imagination and storytelling ability truly flourished. He authored numerous books that were appreciated for their warmth, creativity, and ability to connect with young readers. His stories often carried gentle life lessons, making them both entertaining and meaningful. What made his journey remarkable was his ability to evolve, from crafting hit songs that defined a musical moment, to writing stories that shaped young minds. Few individuals manage to leave such a diverse legacy across different creative fields. While he may not have always been in the public spotlight, his contributions quietly influenced both music lovers and young readers alike. Gordon Snell was more than a songwriter, more than an author. He was a creator of moments, in melodies that people sang, and in stories that children remembered. Though he has passed on, his words and music continue to live, in the echoes of a classic song, and in the imagination of generations. Dan McLean. Dan McLean, a respected and familiar face in Canadian television journalism, passed away on April 28, 2026, at the age of 78. Known for his long and dedicated career as a news anchor with CHCH Television in Hamilton, Ontario, McLean became a trusted voice for generations of viewers who relied on him for clarity, professionalism, and integrity in reporting. Throughout his career, he built a reputation not just as a broadcaster, but as a storyteller who connected deeply with his audience. His calm presence and steady delivery made him a comforting figure in homes across the region, especially during moments when accurate and reliable news mattered most. One of the most defining aspects of his life was his commitment to journalism at a local level. In an era where global headlines often dominate, Dan McLean remained focused on the stories that directly impacted his community, giving a voice to local issues, people, and events that might otherwise go unnoticed. His years at CHCH were marked by consistency, professionalism, and a genuine connection with viewers. He was not just reporting the news, he was part of the community he served. While details surrounding the exact cause of his death have not been widely emphasized, his passing marks the loss of a respected journalist whose presence shaped regional broadcasting for decades. Dan McLean was more than a news anchor. He was a voice people trusted, a presence people recognized, and a professional who dedicated his life to informing others. Though he is no longer here, his legacy lives on, in the stories he told, in the community he served, and in the trust he built over a lifetime. David Fantle. David Fantle, a respected author, educator, and passionate historian of Hollywood's golden era, passed away on April 21, 2026, at the age of 66. His life was defined not by fame, but by his dedication to preserving the stories of those who once stood in the spotlight. Born and raised in Minnesota, Fantle built a remarkable career spanning over 4 decades in marketing, communication, and education. He later became an adjunct professor at Marquette University, where he spent nearly 2 decades teaching media writing, film, and popular culture, impacting more than 1,000 students with his passion and storytelling. But what truly set him apart was his deep love for classic Hollywood. Alongside his co-author Tom Johnson, he co-wrote the book Hollywood Heyday, 75 Candid Interviews with Golden Age Legends, a project that brought together first-hand conversations with some of the most iconic stars of the past. What made this achievement extraordinary was that Fantle didn't just write about these legends, he personally met and interviewed each one, preserving their voices for future generations. One of the most fascinating and memorable chapters of his life came when he helped bring to life the famous bronze fawn statue in Milwaukee, a tribute to the beloved character from the television series Happy Days. At the time, the idea was considered unusual and even controversial, facing skepticism and criticism. But Fantle believed in it. He pushed forward, and what once seemed uncertain eventually became one of the city's most recognizable and cherished landmarks. His passing came suddenly, reportedly following a medical emergency, leaving behind a deep sense of loss among colleagues, students, and the community he served. David Fantle was more than a teacher, more than a writer. He was a storyteller who kept history alive. Through his work, he ensured that the voices of the past would not be forgotten, that the magic of classic cinema would continue to inspire new generations. Though he is no longer here, his legacy lives on. In the stories he preserved, in the students he inspired, and in the memories he helped keep alive.